Hello everyone, it's Barbara and welcome back to my channel, Straight Out of Context. Copyright disclaimer. Under the Copyright Act of 1976, I am within my full legal right to share these following clips via video and audio. The following creators allow reshare, redistribution, and download of their content, and as always, I credit in the description box down below. Fair use, public domain, TikTok third-party license, and TikTok live automatic third-party license for the use of commentary, reaction, teaching, news reporting, research, comment, and criticism. I am legally within my basic human, civil, and constitutional right to share under the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. To share my expressions, views, thoughts, opinions, feelings, and critiques. The First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution guarantees my freedom of religion, freedom to exercise of, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, free assembly, and the right to petition the government and air my grievances. The First Amendment does not cover lies that amount to defamation, slander, libel, harassment, stalking, cyberstalking, bullying, cyberbullying, threats, or any other verbal crimes. For somebody who wants to live a private, quiet life all of a sudden, she sure is making sure she's out and about in public, being seen, taking pictures with people, going out with her friends, making sure that her friends are putting it online. And I have never speculated about Ken's sexuality, despite what everybody has said about him. But he looks like the least sexually attracted to Gypsy Rose Blanchard. You never see him get physically affectionate with her. You never see his attraction and love for her overtake and overwhelm him. Instead, he's very offstandish and distant. And if I didn't know better, I would say that this is some kind of weird arrangement. Gypsy Rose is standing right in front and beside him, and her rack is right at eye level, and he's not even looking. But then this was posted all over the internet from her friend Bree going live on TikTok.
Do this is it. Bam, this is it. Bam, this is it. Get it, get it, get it, get it. Ready, y'all. What? Agree with the accounts. Gypsy's not broke. She might be after today, though. Yeah, I want to make somebody else's face like this. What?
I thought maybe bought a billboard to follow you.
It has. It has. It has. Wait, let's look at the sky.
Now, sure, some people might say that this is just two best friends having a girls' day out, having fun. Some people might say this is a whole ass motherfucking hot mess. Some people are going to say that Gypsy Rose is still using Bree to put out videos and pictures on social media. Some people are going to say that Bree is very much manipulated by Gypsy and she follows and believes her blindly, that she's so entrenched and enmeshed in defending Gypsy Rose Blanchard that she can't back out now, despite and regardless of all of the truth and the facts of her case and crime being made available today. But I'm not here to change or form your opinion. I'm just here to share mine, my thoughts, my feelings, my critiques, my opinion on it. And clearly Gypsy Rose Blanchard cannot let go of that notoriety, that infamy, that sense of fame, because that is what vindicates her ego. That's what strokes her ego and her psychological egoism. And without that, she doesn't have a true sense of self. So of course she decides to go private when she's been exposed for almost 2 years left and right. And she not only can no longer control the narrative, but her emails have come out that have proven to Lifetime that she is a legal liability and that she broke her NDA with them to be a direct source for TMZ. And despite having a baby that's not even a year old yet, despite having an alleged fiance This is not somebody reliving their teenage years that they didn't get to have. This is a fully fledged adult woman in her mid-30s who is just selfishly embarking on whatever the fuck it is she wants to do when she wants to do it. And she is using that in and of itself as a clapback to all of her trolls and her haters. Instead of just focusing on her life, her baby, she is begrudged. She is out for revenge because she feels like it was taken from her. The fame, the notoriety, the money, the clout. And remember, this is the same girl who said, I could give an F about a following, but she's done everything but display that she gives an F about it. In fact, she very much gives an F about it. She keeps secretly reinstating her TikTok account with 9.3 million followers and then deactivating it again. Because when she changed it to Blown Beauty Art and that didn't go over very well, she can't fully bring back that TikTok without looking like a liar. But that's the paradox, and that's the irony in all of it, is that she is a liar. She has not permanently deleted that TikTok or her main Instagram account. She turned around and made a, quote, private, unquote, one. So she can spin that whichever way she wants to. But that main TikTok account and that main Instagram account, she still has control over it, and it is not permanently deleted. I myself have showed in videos where she goes and she reactivates it even for just 5 minutes to keep that account and then puts it back in a deactivated status because she doesn't want to lose that following. She very much gives an F about it.
Of course, I'll let my daughter and my future children read this book. This is actually for them to have when they come of age, where they can understand everything that I went through, that my mother went through, because it's such a hard story to take in. He wanted me to myself with a 9-inch he had mail ordered from Japan, and the thought of the object made me queasy. Bad girl that I was, put it in all 3 of my I just taking out my dentures to try to ease, all the while my tongue the plastic, up and down, all around. Minutes lasted between sounds of my swallowing and smacking until I rubbed the right amount of barbecue sauce or ketchup on my body in the bathtub.
So I don't normally look at my messages, but I got this. I'm assuming it's Bree. The only thing I said was that exposing got swatted and that Bree messaged her to say that it wasn't her. The reason I said that was because Sheena and Bree were on live talking about it, saying how they had nothing to do with it, so they don't give a fuck because they had nothing to do with it. And then Keish was also on live and said that it wasn't Bree, and she knows this because Bree and Exposing exchanged messages. If that information is wrong, I'm sorry, that's what I thought. But that's literally all I said. So what's with the threatening, like, what the fuck? I don't know how her exposing her and Exposing's messages would change anything. And also the reason I'm saying I think this is Bree is because I literally didn't say anyone else's name in that video.
Yeah, I've been done started thinking that Gypsy Rose may have been the one who had factitious disorder. One, she's the one in that damn email to Nick that said she was lying to her mother about the fact she regained feeling in her legs. She's also the one that is accused more than once in her own medical record of malingering in giving answers that were incorrect on purpose. Gypsy Rose also said that her mother had her perfectly healthy teeth ripped out her damn head. Where they healthy at? Look at this. Look, she got a whole, what is that? They were perfectly healthy. They didn't need to be removed. She also told Nick that 48 hours before the murder, she was made to sleep out on the porch with the bugs and pee in the bushes. So Gypsy was just outside right here, peeing in these bushes over here, but she couldn't run, honey. Even though she was out here all night with every freaking opportunity to just run her ass away. She couldn't do that. No, ma'am, she couldn't do that. She waited till the next morning. She made her way back in that damn house, and then she continued plotting and planning the murder with Nick. He would have been there the next day. Yet Gypsy Rose tells the world, oh, I didn't have a choice. I was desperate. I didn't know what to do. She was sleeping out on the porch by herself 48 hours before the murder. If her mama really cared about what the hell Gypsy was up to and what she was doing, she wouldn't have left her on the porch all fucking night by herself. Gypsy Rose Blanchard also never not once claimed abuse until her attorney was getting her a damn plea deal. Then it was, oh, I'm abused. Just like her little friend, Amelia Bird. Yeah, sure, it was Dee Dee.
Move on.
You know, right? Don't tell me to move on. I have too many people fucking tell me that.
I wasn't saying you.
I couldn't resist.
I just found out that Gypsy Rose Manson's book, My Time to Stand, has been nominated for a Clue Award at CrimeCon this weekend. We have to email them like today and let them know this book cannot be honored because it would be glamorizing a convicted murderer. It normalizes the idea that a killer can profit off their crime. And it risks copycat killers who see murder as a path to fame. Not to mention all the newly released evidence that clearly contradicts her Munchausen abuse narrative. You can also go to clueawards.com/nominees, and there is a contact tab right there at the top that will take you to a form you can fill out, and you can get the message to them that way as well. So this is a way to help us get the truth out. This is a way to help set the record straight. And by the way, the media push is still moving forward. Becca has a big live coming up on Monday, I believe. She's talking to a former FBI agent who is, I think she's a court TV reporter now. And we've also got a really big true crime podcast, one of the very first true crime podcasts that's going to be covering this. I will have more details when I know more. So stay tuned and email CrimeCon like right now because,
Big shout out and kudos to everybody that helped do that, and 1980 Millennial Commentates and Into the Weeds podcast for making sure that they were giving out information, facts about the case, the truth, doing what we call on the ground work, field work. This is where it's at, and kudos to them and a big thank you to them. But for everybody who helped participate in contacting to make sure that Gypsy's book was not nominated, a big shout out and thank you to you as well. As you know, Gypsy's book was released on December 10th of 2024, so it shouldn't have been nominated in 2025, unless the category was for books in 2024, and I'm just mistaken. And I'm not exactly sure because I didn't see any details anywhere on the website that says any of the stipulations for what can be nominated. But I would assume if this is at the very end of 2025 in the fall, and the video going around is saying for Book of the Year, Crime Book of the Year 2025, I would assume that they mean books made in 2025. If anybody knows for certain, can you please leave it in the comments so I can know too? Please, thank you. And to all the people in the community that have made this community a community, thank you as well, because she didn't win. And huge shout out and thank you and appreciation to everybody that's in my community for 4 years now. And I mean the majority of my followers, people that have also dealt with disability and or disease, genetic disease, and or cancer, because that is where the large amount of my community and my friends have come from. People who relate to me on that level. And I have a very severe form of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, type 1 and type 2, and that is an inherited genetic connective tissue disease. It affects the skin, which is our largest organ, tendons, ligaments, organs, muscles, because it's essentially a collagen deficiency. So as far as the way that Gypsy Rose Blanchard looks and her micro deletion, that is the one thing that I have understood more than most people do. However, that comes with an array of issues, and she very clearly is not unscathed.
Winner is Book of the Year, Story of a Murder, The Wives, the Mistress, and Dr. Griffin.
The real reason why Gypsy wants privacy is because that baby is not real and she doesn't know how to come out of that lie. So here's how I see it having gone down. Producers went to Gypsy after season 1 of Life After Lockup and told her, listen, you got to give us something. You, and especially Ken, are the most uninteresting people to look at. we need a storyline or you're getting tanked. So then she gets pregnant and we have a storyline. Great. But then she doesn't show the baby's face. She shows like the baby, but not her face, which is weird. And then she went live, you know, with the baby on TikTok, which seemed legit, right? But she only went live for the first couple months of her life. That could have literally been anybody's baby that they paid to like, can we have your baby on our live? Like, I'm not kidding. I would not put it past her. And then we did not see the baby grow past this size right here, which is also sus. Like, that looks like a doll right there to me. So yeah, she doesn't know how to come out of this lie. The show is tanked at this point, and she don't know what to do. Okay.
Do not hate me for this, but I do not believe that the baby is fake. I do believe the baby is real, and I believe that she got pregnant intentionally on purpose to trap Ken and to get him to move to Louisiana. This TikTok creator, the T Page with T, has put out pictures that were censored, but they were of baby Aurora that had came from Kristy that were leaked to other content creators. Hence the live that Kristy Blanchard joined on TikTok admitting that she learned her lesson about sharing private pictures and videos of the baby with creators. And the one photo that she does share is of baby Aurora apparently watching a tablet or a laptop of some type. It's really kind of hard to tell. While simultaneously, Gypsy Rose Blanchard is making content on her family vlogging channel saying that she's not going to let Aurora have a tablet or anything like that until she's 16.
You don't want her to have an iPad at all?
Well, okay, let me be specific. Okay. As a toddler, no.
Okay.
As a preteen, no. As a 16, yes. If she shows us that she is responsible and safe.
Also, I knew that she was going to wipe everything from that YouTube channel because she did it in 2024. On July 11th of 2024, on her YouTube channel called Gypsy Rose Media, she personally announced her pregnancy and she was 11 weeks. She turned around and she also wiped that YouTube not a month and a half later. But this is where she posted content twice of baby Aurora being not buckled appropriately, herself being unbuckled in a moving vehicle, Ken recklessly driving and endangering their child. So she began to realize with the multiple different CPS reports that a lot of it came from her own content. But the fact is she has over 34,000 followers on this YouTube and she has not permanently deleted it. And just like before, she's always going to claim that everything is AI or somebody has edited it or photoshopped it, but nothing compares to Kristy showing on Lifetime cameras her murderabilia. And while Gypsy gets a babysitter and is getting drunk with her friends right in broad daylight, allegedly Ken went to rehab. Do not know if this is confirmed or not, but good for him if he did. He and Gypsy getting the help and utilizing the supports and resources they need is in fact good for their baby. And I do not have to like somebody. In fact, I can dislike or hate somebody and still support the fact that recovery is always a good thing. Using is hard. Getting sober is hard. Recovery is hard, but you have to pick your hard.
Ken Urker is most certainly on rugs. Anybody with eyes or ears knows that, especially if you saw his live, playing in the snow and smelling it.
Oh, baby sweets.
Okay, everybody remembers this live. I have the entirety of it. It was July 16th of 2025 in Miami, Florida, in a hotel room where he allegedly uses a substance. But Ken is not the only person that's getting high on TikTok live. And this prompted CPS again.
I know. I get to give you the bottle. You don't want it. And now you want it.
4 nights ago, Ryan Anderson was on a live where he looked extremely high. He was clearly fighting the nod. And anybody that knows that's not the same as being tired.
Almost there.
I know. I get to give you the bottle. You don't want it.
There's been a lot of talk over the last few days if he is in rehab. Now, that's possible, right? However, he was spotted several days ago at Big Mike's in Thibodaux. There has been rumors his sister said he was, and GRB had a spiral recently.
Gypsy Blanchard's a liar. She said she was going to go on it. I did the crime, did the time, did my time on parole, case is closed. I owe nobody else anything. I don't owe anybody a fucking thing. My daughter, who has healed so much of my pain, so much of my guilt. And so what I want going forward is people to leave me the fuck alone.
I mean, I get why people thought that. He could have been in rehab and now he's out. He could have went to detox and now he's out. Who knows? Even though there has been speculations for as long as they've been together. GRB even mentions this in one of her exposed prison emails. His coworkers have come forward. He did it on a live. So we know he does it. He's a connoisseur. All we can do is hope he gets the help he needs for the baby. But knowing them, it's not looking very good.
I don't even think she realizes how lucky she got because, like, she basically hired a hitman. And, like, when an abused wife hires a hitman, they go to prison forever. But if they pull the trigger themselves, it's self-defense, they get less time. Even her lawyer said, thank God we got a plea deal or else she'd be in prison for life, even though her friends still try to deny that he said that.
Like I said, love them or hate them, it is a good thing for both Ryan Anderson and Ken Urker to go to a rehab and to get clean. That is something good for anybody, and that is something that everybody should support, even without supporting the human behind it. Millions and millions of Americans, 1 out of every 7, has some sort of substance use disorder, alcohol addiction, or opiate use disorder. We have lost over 48 million people just in the last couple decades from opiates alone. So rehab, detox centers, going to therapy, seeing a psychiatrist, starting your recovery journey is a good thing. And as much as Gypsy Rose Blanchard lies, being on MAT, it is not recovery if you're actively abusing it and buying more off the street. And if that is what is happening with Ryan, then I really wish him well and support his recovery journey. But again, all you can do is try to offer somebody some information. It's up to them what they do with it. But I wish this on no one. And if Ken did go to rehab, then good for him, because that is in fact good for their baby. And at this point, I am fully confident in saying, fuck Gypsy, she doesn't matter. But baby Aurora has been largely overlooked in everything she says and does. Even throwing on her newest wig and going out day drinking just a day ago.
This is the first time that I am ever exposed to the public. You can meet her at this time, at this location.
Yeah.
This is how people get murdered. The publisher isn't used to having a responsibility as an author. I scroll through TikTok and all I see is, I'm going to Gypsy's book signing. We're all going to protest and...
Well, if you don't want to do it, and I think that we agree, this is about your best interest, safety-wise, physically, mentally.
I understand that, but I have to do it.
Why?
Like, first she says, that's how people get murdered, and then says, yeah, I just scroll through TikTok and everyone says they're gonna protest. How does that equal to murder? Like, get real. You're the one who thinks about murder when you don't like somebody.
You didn't do social media. You didn't care. It was never about the public back then. And it's so hard to see what you have become. So yeah, I get mad, I get frustrated, I get angry because I know that that's not you. Where's the person that came to visit me when we had an argument and I told you, don't come, and then you showed up anyway? Where's the person that was there for me whenever my parents were on the edge of a divorce? And Kristy didn't pick up the phone for 3 weeks. And you were all I had. You think I forgot about that? I haven't. And I'm just sorry. I'm sorry that you fell in love with a piece of shit like me. I always said Ken was my love, is my love. But you were my comfort. You were my safe place because I knew that you never would hurt me. And I'm just tired of this war, and I want it to end.
It's so obvious when Gypsy cheated on Ken with Ryan by sending Ryan photos and stuff. It's so obvious why she did it. Because in her show, she's like complaining how she doesn't feel like Ken's helping enough. She's postpartum, so she's not feeling great about herself. But Ryan thinks that she's the most beautiful woman in the world. So that's why she reached out. Like, it's just so obvious. And she thinks that we can't see all this.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard can't pay her rent. It appears now that Gypsy Rose's show has ended and she is no longer getting a check from Lifetime. She's going broke. Now, I have a source who is telling me that Gypsy Rose has not yet paid her rent this month, and the landlord isn't happy. Through this source, close to the landlord, I hear that Gypsy Rose is living in a house right outside of New Orleans. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, $2,500 a month. However, she may need to consider downsizing because this isn't the first time Gypsy has been late on the rent. According to my source close to the landlord of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, the landlord has warned her before about being late on the rent. However, today, the rent is still unpaid and she is not responding to her landlord about paying it. Now, all of this comes as Ken Urker apparently doesn't have a job, still. And Gypsy Rose, however, was the primary breadwinner in the family because even if he did work as a busboy at a restaurant, that would not pay for the $2,500 a month rent for their 3-bedroom home. Is Gypsy Rose close to financial disaster now that she is no longer getting paid by Lifetime and has exhibited her poor money management skills? And do you think her landlord will have enough and evict her for continuously being late on the rent? Let me know in the comments and make sure to drop a follow for more.
Okay, so we've heard Gypsy Rose punch her mom at Disney World. We heard that she was aggressive with other children at Disney World as well, pushing them out of the way to see the Little Mermaid live action show at 23 years old. We've heard she did this to Habitat for Humanity kids when she was younger. So now we have another comment. Y'all, I'm going to read it to you, and it could be not real? Sure. But it's not a one-off. We keep hearing these things. So without further ado, Gypsy threatened my 8-year-old daughter with autism by saying she would use her thumbs to push her eyeballs to the back of her head. She did this in a normal voice before her mom was exed. Where and when did this happen? We were at a community outing for families with kids with disabilities at Dickinson Zoo in Springfield, Missouri. Gypsy was in my daughter's group. We do need to think about this because we do know that Gypsy Rose is a kind-hearted, forgiving, and gracious person who not once took advantage of a person who's autistic and talked them into unaliving her mom using her smeg-uality and by saying that that was the only way they could be together. She never did that, except she did. So, I mean, this is like the 3rd or 4th time we've heard it, so I'm going to say it's probably true. But, of course, allegedly.
But it's true.
Good here. You know what? She did her time. I'm afraid to sleep with you.
I don't care.
Granny will give you that Glock 3000, Ryan.
I didn't off my mama. A book?
I didn't off my mama, the fuck.
And you know, she's something else.
Granny, you're messed up.
But it's true.
Granny,
you know what? She did her time. I'm afraid to sleep with you.
For everyone who believed Gypsy Rose saying that Nick Godejohn raped her, she admits she lied about that. 2018, Gypsy Rose does a deposition before Nick's trial. She is asked, on Dr. Phil, did you tell the truth? She says to some extent. She is then asked, to what extent did you not tell the truth? My feelings about the night that my mother's murder happened. Schmex that happened between both of us after the murder happened. So you lied about that? Yes. Did you tell him it was grape? Yes, that he raped you. And in fact, he hadn't raped you. It was a grape fantasy. It was a grape fantasy, but not an actual grape, correct? Correct. Then you were interviewed by HBO. And this fucking answer is just, she says yes, she was interviewed by HBO. Do you remember that? Barely. It's been 3 years. It was almost 3 years for the Dr. Vero interview they were talking about. She remembered that shit. I know, and I apologize for going back that far. Parts where you were interviewed. Did you tell the truth? I believe so. I want to say so. I don't remember. The fact that Gypsy Rose just flat out said she does not remember if she told the truth in her HBO documentary, Mommy, Dad, and Dearest. So for all y'all believe in them gassed up documentaries, I've been fucking telling you, man. But anyway, she says, I never got to see it, so I don't even remember what I said back then. Lies. That's why you don't fucking remember, because if you tell the truth, you don't have to remember what you said. I mean, Gypsy also wrote a letter saying she wanted to be of any assistance to the defense that she could. Of course, we know she got up on that fucking stand and lied. Let's read this anyway. Why did you write that letter? I took a class at the institution. You mean in fucking prison, girl? It's called ICBC. It stands for Impact of Crimes on Victims. Gypsy said it brings you to a new level of accountability with your crime. She had to put aside her feelings about Nick and about whatever it was that I was resenting him for. I told y'all she was resenting that man and realized that I created a victim out of him too. Not only out of my mother, but out of him too. You're supposed to write this letter from your victim to you, then you write the letter to your victim. She said this is not pretty letter, so I just wanted to take accountability for my actions and what led me here. I understand that my mother was the primary victim, but I also created a victim out of Nick himself. And I just don't think it's fair for me to be sitting here and say that it's fair for him to go to prison for the rest of his life. What do you think would be fair for him? 15 years. That's what Gypsy said would be fair for Nick. So just a little over what you have. Just a little more time than me, just because he actually did the actual... Crazy how she says all this and then in his trial switches the fuck up on him. Any of the interviews, did you ever tell the truth? Some. Flat out tells y'all she lied. She even says it in one of her documentaries. I haven't been completely honest with anybody. Not even my attorneys. That's what she said. Says, I'm talking about the TV interviews. Any of these TV interviews you did, in fact, tell the whole truth. No. She fucking says she did not tell the whole truth in any of these documentaries, any of these interviews. So you've always left stuff out. She says, yep, omitted something at all times, per the usual fucking Gypsy Rose. How she omitted the fact she had a microdeletion until she couldn't anymore. And obviously today you're telling the truth though. Yeah, I got this from MPG Cornerstone. They have great fucking documents. Please go follow them. All this isn't alleged. It is for entertainment purposes only, some of my opinion. I got that shit from her deposition.
So it's no wonder why Gypsy Rose Blanchard decided to go private, because now she cannot come back from years and years worth of her prison emails. She cannot come back from the fact that content creators were right about her for 2 years. She lied.
And you know what? I had absolutely no trouble or doubts of deleting that public one. And I have people that are like, oh my God, you're insane for deleting that kind of a following. And I'm like, I could give a F about a following. That's not real life.
This is actually kind of the first time I've been honest. Besides being honest, with my attorney. Even that, I haven't been completely honest with them, so.
She taught me how to be a good liar. A very good liar without any conscience. Keep making content.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. Please like and share. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button, and I will catch you all on the flip side.